Every good graphic design course teaches it, and every good designer knows about it. But does it actually work in real life on real people? That's exactly what I wanted to test and find out. And to do so, I made 3 different tests when combined should give a clear picture on whether or not color theory is bogus or beneficial. Test 1. A simple YouTube poll. Test number 2. Testing several designs on Twitter audiences. And test number 3. Using a YouTube thumbnail analyzing software that can detect changes in color and how that might affect a video's performance. Oh, and a huge thanks to AI Image Upscaler from Media.io for sponsoring today's video. More about that later. The first test was the most simple, and this is the one I expected to work the most efficiently, to be honest. The premise was that in color theory, we as humans are hardwired to feel certain emotions that certain colors evoke. As example, blues are meant to be calming, but also they can be cold, or how reds excite our emotions and raise our heart rate. But does it actually work in practice in real life on real people? I posted a YouTube poll, and the question was actually very simple with zero context. Which color group makes you the most happy? It should be noted that this question wasn't which color group do you like or which would work well on a design. It was actually a very simple question, just which one makes you the most happy. Now, according to color theory, it should technically be yellows and oranges because these are positive and kind of uplifting colors. But of course, there are always exceptions to the rule, and some people even felt tricked by this question. And I found it really interesting how some people managed to get even angry at the simplest of questions on a social media platform. Anyway, how YouTube polls work is that you cannot see the results or what people have chosen until you choose one yourself. So in the end, this leads to a total individual choice that's pretty unbiased. And as you can clearly see, the yellows and the oranges have a large majority. And I'm not surprised that number 1 is the second most chosen. And that's because the colors have a low saturation, which according to color theory is peaceful and calming, which to some people would result in them being happy. As someone suggested, it would be a good idea to post just one color group and then have options of emotions and see what people feel from just that one color group. But from this first test, we can see that in theory, color theory does work on instinctive and reactive emotion. If you were designing something or selling something that wanted to evoke happiness, a yellow or an orange color palette has a good chance of helping to evoke just that. And that's at an almost 2/3 of people reacting in that desired way. Now the second test, that was conducted on Twitter. But before we dive into color theory on Twitter, there's something I've been using recently that's made my workflows that much better. As designers, we sometimes get given low quality, low res, and ultimately just annoying imagery to work with. Or perhaps say when you're scrolling through Google looking for things to make use of on a project, you might only ever come across those 200, 400, 700 pixel images. I know the pain. AI Image Upscaler by Media.io changes everything. It utilizes an easy to use image upscale function where you can take unusable low-res images and convert them into design assets with just a few clicks. There are other useful functions as well, but you will notice how this thing really packs a punch and sharpens up images to amazing qualities. From one designer to another, I'm sure you'll be able to use this in your workflow and make great use of it as well. But anyway, let's jump back into test number 2 for today's color theory video. Now for this test, I made 3 designs, all of which were the same design essentially apart from the color scheme. I then asked the Twitter audience which of these 3 designs would most likely persuade them to buy these headphones. For this experiment, I thought a background that is complementary in color to the blue headphones would get the most reaction, and according to color theory, that would be orange. This would, in theory, help the headphones stand out more, and also according to color theory, complementary colors are visually appealing on a subconscious level. However, there was also an argument for the white design having a good chance as well, and that's because the price tag was very emphasized with the white background, and also so with the headphones. But anyway, on Twitter, I asked people to post either a purple, an orange, or a white heart to cast their votes. And of course, some people didn't read that or they just didn't take notice of it. But for those who did, we can see that the orange design has a slight edge majority, and white comes in runner-up. Using color theory as a designer is not about getting things 100% correct for everybody. We want to design for the majority, and that's one way that color theory is so powerful in graphic design. But what about the next test, test number 3? Test number 3 involved using some software that I use almost every single day, and that is thumbnailtest.com. Now I use this to analyze and test thumbnail designs and how they might interact with audiences, but also as well titles. And for my color theory test, I had the perfect scenario to play out. A few weeks ago, I made a video about UI and UX design. Now I do know that a large portion of my audience doesn't care about this topic, hence why the views aren't that great. But the thumbnail design also wasn't that great too. It was cold and it didn't have much contrast. And yes, blues and purples can actually be linked back to the tech sector. But as people scroll through YouTube, it is wise to use colours that are heavily contrasted and which are bright and bold to look at. This catches people's attention really easily. That's the theory anyway, but did it actually work? Well, I redesigned the thumbnail so it now has a big contrast between black and orange. And of course, orange is more noticeable because it's really bright and bold, in theory. I then hopped onto the software, chose the video in question, uploaded the new thumbnail, and then set the test to run for 48 hours. The software would show one thumbnail for 1 hour, and then flick over to the other one, over and over again for 48 hours. After that time period, the results were in, and here they are. The views are still not great, but again, that's mainly due to my audience not jiving with this topic so well. But the new thumbnail pulled in more views. However, importantly, the CTR number is very telling indeed. CTR is click-through rate, and YouTube measures this by how many clicks a video gets after showing the thumbnail or the video to 100 people. The new thumbnail had around 35% more clickability than the original one, and that just plays right into the effectiveness of the color theory basis I laid out before the test. Some of the other metrics are pretty positive too. That suggests the viewers who came to the video from the new thumbnail stayed longer and interacted with the content more so. Granted, these tests were not too in-depth, but they do hint at how color theory is useful to designers or even people just working in business or online. I do have plans to go deeper into this topic and perhaps orchestrate more detailed tests. So if you would like to see that in a different video, just let me know with a comment and a like on this video. Oh, and also do check the image upscaler via the link in the description box below and start enhancing his low-res images today. But if you'd like to brush up on some advanced color theory, just click the video on screen. And until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.